Our next presentation is going to deal with Internet of Things use cases and client examples. And we're happy to have with us today the CTO from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland region for Software AG, Mr. Wolfgang Beeck. Please give him a round of applause.
Okay.
Have fun.
Thank you. So, good morning. I was asked to talk a little bit about the practical side of Internet of Things, Industry 4.0. I'm not touching anything here. Okay, good. Thank you. My name is Wolfgang Beeck. I work since the beginning of 2014 for Software AG. And I have a longer standing heritage in data integration, analytics, working for IBM and other companies. So I would like to keep the theoretical part of my presentation today relatively brief, and then use most of the time of today on 3 practical examples which we have developed with our clients in the field. So, a few words on Software AG. Software AG is the oldest software company in Germany. It is existing since 1969. So when I was about to go to kindergarten, this company was started. So it's in the business since 47 years. And you know, if you are such a long time in such a, let's say, dynamic area, one of the things you need to achieve is that you are able to constantly reinvent yourself. Now, maybe the one or the other here in the room who is a little bit more or longer in the industry knows Software AG from its first products, AWS Natural. So it's still there. We are still the second largest software company in Germany. We're running around €1 billion a year. But what did we do the last 10 years to get to a position that we are now able to be a relevant player for our clients and partners in the area of Internet of Things? And one thing we did is that we really developed our technical capabilities. We did that, of course, with our own development efforts plus acquisitions. You see here the course of acquisitions of Software AG in the last 10 years roundabout. And it's not about the details. You may see or remember the one or the other brand name. The real objective for us was to come up with a portfolio which does basically 5 things. Yeah? And based upon these 5 building blocks, we're working now with clients, and I will tell you and explain these client examples in the area of Internet of Things. So we do things like business and IT transformation. We support that here with products like ARIS and Alphabet. This is important for the conceptual and design work, and these tools are supporting you in this. For the actual deployment and work in Internet of Things, the 4 other building blocks here are important. You need to be able to integrate. That's an obvious thing. You need to be able to do that in a very performant and scalable fashion. That's why we have also in-memory capabilities. We are able to execute design processes in runtime, and of course we can apply certain types of analytics and decision support based upon these capabilities for our clients. Wait a second. Yeah, and we do that, of course, today, and I don't want to spend much more words on that, in 3 different ways. We work with our clients also in, let's say, a traditional deployment mode, which is on-premise, of course. We support also cloud-based deployment strategies as well as a hybrid version of that. So that's it. Yeah, so that was the marketing part. Now, as I was asked to do it in a short, brief fashion, I need to jump a little bit over the typical conceptual parts in such presentations. So I jump right away in where we are active. and based upon that, how we have worked with our clients. So the main thing we do is, with our portfolio, streaming analytics. Streaming analytics means you need to be able to connect many of these intelligent devices, these new data sources. You need to get, let's say, smart about how you would like to handle these constant data ingests, these streams. And what you see is not a module or product point of view. This is, what you need to support from our point of view as functionality, as capability in your enterprise. Yeah, so you need to be able to get some analytical value out of that data stream. You need to be able to persist that. I mean, that's another obvious thing. Apply analytical processes against that, and of course, take out of that the necessary intelligent decisions at runtime to do something with your business processes. And what we do, and this is where we are standing since many years in a very, let's say, solid fashion, is then integrate and orchestrate what's happening in your existing IT landscape and manage that and bring that into conjunction with your new data ingestion. So that's it from the theoretical part. Let's jump right away in client examples. And by the way, I'm also open for questions if you like. Yeah, as in any case enough time at the end of the presentation if there is the one or the other question. Okay, not the very last thing on the theoretical side. Just here a little closer look how we work with these event streams and how we work here with the analytical side. So as you can see from the left-hand side, we work with these event streams, the event feeds. We take out of that the possibility to trigger actions, alerts, notifications. We are very close with the typical analytical tools to understand and analyze the data which you then have persisted, get out of that an analytical understanding and apply these models again in runtime against the data. We support it with tooling and of course with the necessary persistence layers you need to work in IoT. So first use case. This is the use case with Lexmark. So Lexmark, I think, is known. They are a vendor of printers, printer devices. They are big in equipment for offices. And what Lexmark did is the following. They had to think about how to further develop their business. Printers are printers. I mean, there's not much new about these. Set aside the fact that there's now 3D printing, but they do mainly classical printing. There's color printing, there's black and white printing, laser. So there is not much of invention going on in that area. And the strategic decision for Lexmark was to further develop their business. They have to expand in their services business. So the objective, the strategic objective of Lexmark is to expand the service business by 50% until 2017. Now the question is how to do that. Yeah? And they decided they need a couple of things they need to bring in place to get there. Yeah? So of course you need to work on your P&L, be cost efficient. But the new printers are relatively smart and intelligent, so they have a good knowledge of where these printers are, and where does not only mean in a geographical way, so they also have a good understanding where in a building their equipment is placed, so they want to get here value out of that. The next thing is they would like to have a much better understanding of how their distributed assets are at this point in time working, what is their condition, and of course in the end, to be able to expand your services business, you need to be a reliable partner to your clients and, of course, get either better service level agreements in place or be very strict and very reliable and sticking to your SLAs you have with your clients. Now, this is what you then see in practice, so this is really taken directly out of a architectural view of Lexmark. So one thing you will always find, if you think about IoT, the next step, and develop your business, there's always a kind of brownfield in place. Yeah? You literally never can start in a clear greenfield environment. So, of course, Lexmark has a lot of systems in place. So they have had, and I start a little bit here at the upper left corner, they have existing infrastructure in place to collect data from their field devices. This is this pigeon and live array. They have existing mechanisms in place to parse the raw data, enrich it, and make it, let's say, manageable along the way when it flows through their system landscape. They store a lot, and they do that completely cloud-based, yeah, for analytical purposes. And they brought in now a couple of our elements. Parma, Terracotta, Presto are these products they are using here for us. They are a long-standing integration client with web methods, and integrated now this new data stream, yeah, coming from the printers in the field into their system landscape and the typical services processes to support their clients and SLAs. So what you have as a process needs, of course, to be mapped to your systems and sequence of action you need to fulfill when a certain event like I'm broken, I'm running out of supply. So this is here the case. So this project is a global one. So another element of IoT is that you're not necessarily bound to your, let's say, geographical boundaries. If you are able to establish such a platform and have it also in the cloud and provide universal connectivity, there's of course no way why you would not be able to apply the same architecture and concept worldwide. And this is what Lexmark has in mind. So there's a unique global architecture for the infrastructural part, and they map that with all their service partners in each of the geographies. So that's another, of course, element of complexity which you need to take care of. But going into such an investment for IoT, managed intelligent devices, it's always a good idea to start here with a global concept in mind, but also be able to work with your local partners and adapt to your local requirements here. And the real central piece, and that's why it's also here in that picture, is the ability, and this was where we have been involved with them last year, is this CEP, complex event processing, which enables them now to collect all the information coming from the devices in the field, map that to information they have in their legacy, in their back office world, like SLAs are stored, for instance, in this case, in their CeBIT system, have a look into their real-time stock inventory. This is based on SAP, map that, and out of that, control and trigger, this is here called intelligent BPM, in a new automated and data-based fashion, the business processes running in the back to fulfill all these service requests and SLAs. So this is really the idea. Lexmark has started with that last year in Northern America and is about to roll it out now also into Europe and Asia Pacific. The objective is, in the end, to connect up more than 1 million devices, sending tens of thousands of messages a second, and manage that as a new asset in the development of their business. So what they said, I think this is also a very important part for many, let's say, relevant in similar projects is they believe that the Internet of Things is not just a technical platform, a technical possibility, it is a driver, an enabler to transform your business. And what will be transformed? So one thing they said, we have to do a process transformation. Yeah, driving by being more efficient, being, let's say, more reliable. So we need to do something, but we have now the technical capabilities to do that. Then, based upon that, you can do new and different and better types of services, and by having that in place, transform your business. And then now I come back to what I said initially about Lexmark. They said, as a strategic decision, they would like to expand in services. So for them, this is what they would like to achieve in the course of their business transformation. And for me, the most important thing is technology always follows here the strategy, and the strategy was to do that service expansion. And then you need to think about what you need to support that. So this was Lexmark. I would like to come to another example. This is Octo. And Octo is an Italian-based company providing car insurance telematics information. Now, I think the idea is very much known already. So due to the fact that you can hook up your devices with some kind of tracking facility, you have an understanding of how the car is being moved. Yeah, so you probably have heard about that, and not sure who here in the audience likes that. Yeah, but you can of course understand how fast you are driving, where you are, if you are in breach of speed limits, but also if you have had an accident, if something has happened, and in Italy, of course, if maybe there's a car theft, so you have a better understanding where your car currently is. So, an Octo is a typical new digital company, so they're a asset-free company. So they do not own the cars. They do not even produce their own tracking devices. They are not, as such, an insurance company, but they are the ones who collect the information produced by the cars via these tracking devices, get smart out of that data, and provide services to insurance companies interested in setting up new types of insurance policies. Though they are a typical example for a digital, nearly completely digital company who base their business on data they get, process, and based upon insight provide services to other participants in that ecosystem. Now, what is our role in that? So, as you can imagine, this is a new digital business model. They started small and they're growing now fast. They have millions of cars now connected, and of course, out of these many cars, get even much more information. And their main driver to work with us was to set up a architecture which helps them to further grow. Yeah? So it's also kind of interesting. So you have had your idea, you have your digital business model, and you get traction and success. Yeah? And then you need to have a scalable, robust architecture in the back to support your business during the course of either linear or exponential growth. And you see here a few of the figures here on the right-hand side, and Octo believes very much that this is going to grow very fast, yeah, and of course it's going to grow alongside, yeah, with the acceptance of these new types of car insurance policies, that's for sure. Yeah, but there is a belief and certain indication that this is going to continue. And again, here our streaming analytics products and capabilities are involved in that. We work with this client, is also an interesting example, not only in the sense that they are using our products, but also that we are working here closely together with such digital challengers and new companies to, alongside with their use and needs, to develop our platform. We call it co-innovation, and this is also an example for that. So, last but not least, maybe the most interesting one. Now, Bosch is probably a brand name very much known worldwide. I mean, they're producing all kinds of things, power tools, water heaters. They are the largest automotive car equipper worldwide. So they are active in many areas. And Bosch is currently in a deep transformation. So Bosch has announced last week in Berlin during their own event, Bosch Connected World, that they are going to invest 500 million every year in the area of IoT. They very much believe that the future of the whole company lies in the Internet of Things, Industry 4.0, which for them means they have to make any goods they produce intelligent. So one of their strategies is to enable every product which has a power connection until 2018. So that's one of the strategies. They are pulling in a lot of brain power currently. So one of the other things they would like to achieve is to hire 14,000 graduates from universities worldwide to support them in that. And basically that means from a typical engineering-driven, asset-heavy type of company transform themselves in a more digital and software-driven player. And this is a huge effort. Yeah? And it's just an example for many other companies now being challenged with that. And we have the privilege to be here one of the 3 strategic partners in that journey. And what Bosch is doing is somewhat unique. So many of these companies being active in Internet of Things, enabling here software-driven business, are using, for instance, AWS, Amazon services, yeah, to have some sort of infrastructural layer. Bosch wants to build their own infrastructural layer for cloud-based IoT services and products. So this is one thing they do. This is relatively unique. There are not so many who are doing that. They do that together with Pivotal. On the other hand side, and this is also a challenge for us as a software provider, they would like to set up now a ecosystem where functionalities are in a marketplace and business users of Bosch, as much as then later on external users, can make use of these functional components, build their services, mesh up these services, and based upon that, provide new types of products and differentiating functionality. So that's as far as the, let's say, vision and strategy of Bosch goes. We as Software AG are involved in that and are here to establish and provide these necessary functionalities in a platform as a service kind of fashion, and work with their, at the moment, internal business departments to set up now these necessary software-based functions and abilities to develop their current assets, like, for instance, power tools, yeah, typical screwdriver, yeah, electrical, now getting smart, sending yeah, if you have enabled it, information about usage, and of course allow, for instance, is a typical thing, predictive maintenance on these tools, also check of health of battery and other things. And again, also for Bosch, based upon that insight, offer new services and other contracts and SLAs to their clients. So these have been 3 examples, and as promised, I try to be brief here, and there are 5 minutes left. And these have just been, relatively fast way, a few examples where we are active. So from my side, I would now be open for questions, if you like, if there's the one or the other thing you would like to understand better. So I'm not sure how you handle that here typically in this conference. Don't be shy. Yes, please.
Erstmal vielen Dank. May I ask you, for these projects, always information is asked from the customers.
Yes.
And other customers are also asked if they want to give their information about what they are doing, when with their machines and so on.
Yes, of course. Now in all 3 examples, Lexmark, Octo, as well as Bosch, this is of course an important topic. So it's very simple. So for Lexmark, I start with that because it's relevant in all 3 cases. In Lexmark, it's very simple. The printers belong to the client and they are working on the premise of a client. So it's always necessary that the client gives permission that the data these machines are producing are being sent out to Lexmark via the network of that client. So they are asked and need to give permission that this information is being passed on. For Octo, it's the same thing. Yeah. So if a insurance company wants to provide that insurance policy to you, part of that contractual process is, of course, the consent of a client that this information is being used to calculate his driving behavior. Yeah? So the benefit is, of course, the assumption is if you drive safely, you have to pay less insurance. So there's a kind of negotiation going on between what is this worthwhile for you as a client. But in also this case is clearly said it has to be written and clear consent by the client to do that. And Bosch is the very same thing. So Bosch takes a lot of pride in setting up an infrastructure where they keep control of identity management and security, because they believe only with these major building blocks under control, they can provide to their clients a promise, and the promise is that they're always asking the client, that they only do when there's a clear defined consent in place, and they say, yes, you can use the data, but also if someone says you're not longer allowed to use my data, they are really able to stop that and delete information they have gathered for that client in their system. So it plays a very important role in all of these 3 examples, and it's always handled use case by use case in a slightly different fashion. But common thing is there's not a just blind usage of the data without asking anyone. I hope this answers your question, because I believe this is a very important topic, particularly also in Germany. More questions? We have a little bit of time left. Okay, then thank you very much for your interest.